Alright, the teams are all penciled in. So now, it's time for us to use our heads and make some predictions.
I think Washington is one of the elite teams in the NFC. I genuinely do.
Finally, it's here. Behold the 2021 NFL schedule. Time to start circling your calendars and marking down the biggest games as we get set to enjoy football with packed stadiums once again. With the schedule released, it's a fun time to reveal our way too early win-loss predictions for all 32 teams. Arizona Cardinals, 8-9. We really want to give the Cardinals a winning record. They've had a magnificent offseason. The only issue is they play in the NFC West with three potential Super Bowl contenders. There isn't an easy stretch in Arizona's schedule whatsoever. 5 of their final 7 games come against 2020 playoff teams. Atlanta Falcons, 7-10. The Falcons were better in 2020 than what their 4-12 record indicated. They lost a lot of close one-score games that could have gone either way. Now, this isn't a playoff team, but the NFC South is a little more friendly with Drew Brees now retired. The Falcons play 3 NFC East opponents and the New York Jets within their first 5 weeks. So, they have a chance to get off to a hot start here. Baltimore Ravens, 11-6. The Ravens' toughest game is out of the way early, when they welcome the Chiefs in Week 2. The final 7-game stretch, though, is tough, with 2 games against both the Browns and Steelers, plus home tilts with the Packers and Rams. But the Ravens only have 2 teams with winning records from 2020 on their schedule through the first 8-game stretch. A 6-2 or 7-1 start feels like a very strong possibility. Buffalo Bills, 12-5. The AFC runner-ups open the season with a daunting 7-game stretch. They'll play 4 playoff teams from 2020 plus the 10-win Miami Dolphins twice. On the bright side, the schedule cools down a bit from there. If Josh Allen builds up his MVP season, the Bills will be in the running for the top seed in the AFC. Carolina Panthers, 6-11. As of now, Carolina looks to be, well, the worst team in the NFC South. Other than their Week 1 home opener against the Jets, there really isn't one game on the schedule that has us thinking, hey, they should win that one. Nonetheless, this is an up-and-coming team that should pull off a handful of upsets. Chicago Bears, 8-9. We love the Justin Fields draft selection, but how NFL ready is he? It could take some time for Fields to find his game at the professional level. Even if he struggles early, Chicago's stingy defense will keep them in the NFC North hunt. They play the Vikings in Week 15 and 18. If Rodgers is a goner, those 2 tilts with Minnie will likely determine the division winner. Cincinnati Bengals, 5-12. Hard to give the Bengals more than 5 W's, considering they reside in a division with a trio of 2020 playoff teams, all of whom won double-digit games. You might see 1 or 2 upset victories within their division. Their Week 4 home tilt against the Jaguars is very winnable, as are their Week 8 and Week 15 road contests with the Jets and Broncos respectively. Cleveland Browns, 11-6. Nice for the Browns to get their Week 1 tilt at Kansas City done with early. It only gets easier from there. From Weeks 2 to 7, the Browns don't play any teams with a winning record from 2020. So a 5-2 or 6-1 start is very possible. The funnest part of their schedule has to be when they take on the Ravens in Week 12 and 14. So hey, enjoy. Dallas Cowboys, 9-8. Dallas would have won the NFC East in 2020 if Dak Prescott didn't get injured. His return and a rebuilt defense should be enough to get them the division title this time around though. We have the Cowboys pegged for 9 wins, but they could easily surpass that. The only games that really feel like sure losses are Week 1 at Tampa, Week 6 at New England, and Week 11 at KC. Denver Broncos, 7-10. The 3-0 start isn't impossible, with tilts against the Giants, Jaguars, and Jets on the early slate. But the Broncos also have to play against the brutal AFC North, plus the Chiefs and Chargers twice apiece. They'll be competitive, but Denver just isn't ready to make a whole lot of noise in the playoff race. Detroit Lions, 4-13. A popular pick here to finish with the NFL's worst record. Matthew Stafford and Kenny Golladay are gone, and the Lions are in full-on rebuilding mode with a brand new front office and coaching staff. Where do you see W's on their schedule? Maybe one against the Packers if Aaron Rodgers is gone? Week 6 against the Bengals maybe? 4 wins is their ceiling, plain and simple. Green Bay Packers 6-11. Yeah, we're totally projecting Rodgers to not be there in 2021. With all due respect to Jordan Love, this is a flawed roster that has been bailed out by number 12 time and time again. Even if Rodgers is here in 2021, there's just no easy slate of games for the Packers whatsoever. They'll be in tough no matter who's under center. Houston Texans 3-14. Yeah, we're also guessing that Deshaun Watson doesn't play for the Texans this season. This team won just 4 games with him last season, so 3 wins without him might actually be generous. They do have games against the Jaguars and Jets, but Houston is still the early favorite to win the first overall selection in 2021. Indianapolis Colts 11-6. An absolutely brutal 8-game stretch to open the year. Versus Seattle, versus Rams, at Tennessee, at Miami, at Baltimore, versus Houston, at San Francisco, and versus Tennessee. We can see the Colts struggling to a 3-5 or a 4-4 start. But this is easily the most balanced team in the AFC South, and the second half of the schedule eases up very nicely. So a division title is still a strong possibility. Jacksonville Jaguars 6-11. Trevor Lawrence's arrival will buy the Jaguars a handful of extra wins. And honestly, this should be a fun team to watch. They could play spoiler in a couple of interdivision matchups. And there's also some other winnable games against young QBs like Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa, and Joe Burrow on their slate. Kansas City Chiefs 13-4. We have good reason to think that KC will finish with the NFL's best record yet again. Arguably, their 3 toughest games versus Cleveland, at Baltimore, and versus Buffalo are done within the first 5 weeks. Being the best team and all, there isn't a game on the schedule that they should lose. Over their final 8 games, Kansas City only faces 1 opponent with a winning record from 2020, the Steelers in Week 16. And, well, that's a home game. Las Vegas Raiders 7-10. The Raiders hung around in the playoff race last year, but we don't see that happening again in 2021. The AFC is loaded with good teams, and being in the same division as Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert isn't helpful. They kick things off with games against Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Miami. But the good news is, from weeks 4 to 9, none of their opponents had a winning record last season. They better at least get 4 wins during that stretch if they want to have any shot at the playoffs. Los Angeles Chargers 10-7. The Chargers suffered a ton of heartbreaking losses last season, but off-season reinforcements and new head coach Brandon Staley should change this. The first half of the season is rough, with games against Washington, Dallas, Kansas City, Cleveland, Baltimore, and New England. It's a completely different story from weeks 9 to 18 though. They'll play just 2 teams with winning records from last season during that stretch, the Steelers and the Chiefs. Los Angeles Rams 12-5. A simple upgrade at quarterback just might make the Rams the team to beat in the NFC. Yeah, their division is brutal, and the Rams have tough games early on, including week 2 at Indianapolis and week 3 against the Bucs. But with a high-powered offense and the league's best defense from 2020, the Rams match up well against anybody. Miami Dolphins 10-7. We'll give Miami the same win total as last year. We can see a sweep of the Jets and a couple of splits with the Bills and Patriots. They could totally go 3-1 against the NFC South and AFC South divisions too. The final 3-game stretch won't be fun at all though. At New Orleans, at Tennessee, and versus New England. That stretch could very well determine whether or not Tua remains the man in South Beach beyond 2021. Minnesota Vikings 10-7. With Aaron Rodgers on his way out of Green Bay, are the Vikings the new favorites to win the NFC North? This team is a strong bounce-back candidate. The defense will get Danielle Hunter back. The O-line was beefed up with the selection of Christian Darrisaw, and Justin Jefferson could be even better in his sophomore year. New England Patriots 10-7. Bill Belichick's offseason reinforcements will lead New England back to the postseason. But if we're talking about the 2021 schedule, how can we not mention what may very well be the most highly anticipated regular season game in NFL history? Tom Brady's return to Foxborough in Week 4, Sunday Night Football, Brady versus Belichick for the first and likely only time ever. Let's go! Anyway, back to the record. The Patriots will be better on both sides of the ball. A tough AFC East will lead to more losses than they'd like, but 10 wins is better than the 7 they had in 2020. New Orleans Saints 10-7. Don't forget the Saints won 12 games last season with Taysom Hill and a banged-up Drew Brees. This team remains loaded with talent, and they're more than capable of going on a deep playoff run with Hill and Jameis Winston. The Saints have a top 5 defense, and Winston should do far more good than bad with Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and a stacked O-line in front of him. So yeah, we're confident in giving this team 10 wins and a playoff appearance in year 1 of the post-Brees era. New York Giants, 8-9. The Giants will undoubtedly top their win total of 6 from a year ago. We love the overall look of this team, but we just can't pick them as a division winner. Daniel Jones just leaves them with way too many question marks. Nonetheless, playing in football's worst division will help the Giants flirt with a .500 record, and that nasty defense can pull off an upset on any given week. We're all for Monday Nighters with KC and Tampa in weeks 8 and 11 respectively. Hey, the Giants almost beat Tampa Bay last season. New York Jets, 5-12. With a long overdue coaching change, a new quarterback in Zach Wilson, and some nice upgrades on both sides of the ball, the Jets certainly won't be boring in 2021. Not at all. This will be a fun-loving team with the ability to play spoiler. We can see the Jets getting at least one upset win within their division. Carolina, Cincinnati, Denver, Houston, Philadelphia, and Jacksonville are all very beatable opponents as well. So 5 wins feels like a safe prediction. Philadelphia Eagles, 5-12. It's a rebuilding year for the Eagles. No more Doug Peterson or Carson Wentz. It's Jalen Hurts' time to shine under new head coach Nick Sirianni. Honestly, if Philly didn't play in the NFC East, we'd strongly consider picking them for the worst record next season. Even if Hurts takes the next step, there's just not enough veteran talent here for Philadelphia to really compete. Pittsburgh Steelers, 8-9. Well, this is it, we think. This is the year the Steelers record their first losing season since 2003 and their first ever under Mike Tomlin. The Steelers overachieved big time last year. Ben Roethlisberger is way past his prime. The O-line has a lot of concerns. The defense can't keep stealing games on their own. And oh yeah, they have to play the Ravens and Browns twice. At least Pittsburgh plays at home in 4 of their first 6 games. If they can start 4-2 or 5-1, we'll look silly for betting against them. San Francisco 49ers, 11-6. Whether it's Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo starting, the 49ers are loaded and ready for a return to the postseason. There's just no way they get hit hard with the same amount of injuries as last year. Yeah, the NFC West is unforgiving and the schedule is tough, but don't forget that this team made the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Seattle Seahawks, 9-8. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks offense will only be able to do so much this time around. Their division rivals got much better, and amid rumors of a rift between Wilson and the Seahawks, a regression sort of feels inevitable. Wilson will help this team to another winning season, but the postseason feels unlikely at the moment. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 12-5. The defending Super Bowl champions have one of the easiest schedules, though we expect the NFC East to be much tougher this time around. And Tampa may drop 1 or 2 divisional games this year. We have them losing to the Rams in Week 3, and don't be shocked if Bill Belichick stymies his former quarterback in Week 4. A split with the Saints seems likely. But in the end, we have the Bucs as the NFC South Division winners and the number 2 seed in the NFC. Tennessee Titans, 10-7. Not sure how much Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry will be able to bail out this team. Losing Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith hurts, and offensive coordinator Arthur Smith left for Atlanta's head coaching job. That said, it would be foolish to bet against Mike Vrabel's team, especially with the Jaguars and Texans in their division. The Titans will be battle-tested over a 5-game stretch from Week 6 to 10 though, versus Buffalo, versus Kansas City, at Indianapolis, at Rams, and versus New Orleans. Washington football team, 8-9. Washington has a great roster here, but it's too bad they watch the Giants and Cowboys get significantly better. Repeating as division champs won't be easy, especially given their current quarterback situation. Weeks 14 to 18 will be make or break for Washington next season. All 5 games are against NFC East opponents, including 2 against the playoff hopeful Cowboys. But hey, what record do you predict for your favorite NFL team next season? Join us in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around at TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.